tieu nu is carrying a tiny life within her, the result of love, and the long days she spent waiting for Truong to return. But just as she's living quietly, Truong's mother suddenly appears at her doorstep, her eyes filled with worry and countless questions. Tieu nu trembles, her hand resting gently on her belly, where a secret greater than any words lies hidden. Will she have the courage to tell the truth, to confess that she's carrying Truong's child? Or will she choose silence, keeping both her joy and her fear locked inside to avoid another storm from breaking out? What seems like an ordinary visit may turn into a fateful crossroads where a single word could change the future of all three lives forever. It was a quiet morning. Soft sunlight streamed through the window as Mrs. Truong sat on the porch, slowly flipping through old photos. In one picture, Truong and tieu nu still wore the bright, carefree smiles of their younger days, warm and full of hope. She sighed, her heart filled with a tender, indescribable longing. It had been so long since she last visited tieu nu, the gentle daughter-in-law she had always loved as her own. She picked up her phone and called her usual driver. Her voice was calm, but carried a quiet resolve. "Could you help me with something? Take me to buy some fruit, then stop by to visit tieu nu." On the other end, the driver immediately understood. Every trip like this was one she prepared for carefully, not just to visit, but to send a mother's love on behalf of Truong. As the car rolled along the tree-lined village road, she sat in silence, gazing out the window. The trees, the fields, everything looked the same, yet her heart felt heavier than ever. She thought of Truong, her son who had gone away and never sent word. Where could he be now? Did he still think of tieu nu? Did he know she was still waiting, still going to the market early every morning, still carrying the weight of longing in her heart? Her hands tightened slightly, eyes glistening as she imagined tieu nu quietly caring for a small child on her own. Deep down, she had only one simple wish: that Truong would return soon, so tieu nu wouldn't have to be alone anymore. So little Dewey could finally hear his father's voice, and so this mother's heart could at last find peace after so many silent days of waiting. Early in the morning, the village market was already crowded. Tieu nu sat by her small stall baskets of round, glossy eggplants shining deep purple under the sun. Her hands moved quickly as she arranged them for customers, a gentle smile on her lips, yet in her eyes lingered a sadness she couldn't hide. Since the day Truong left, every morning at the market had become a quiet battle between memory and the present. She tried to stay focused, bargaining, weighing, counting, but every time a man in a dark shirt passed by, her heart skipped a beat. For a moment, she hoped that distant figure might be Truong, the man whose smile and gaze she still remembered so clearly. But every time it was just another stranger. Sometimes when her hand rested on her belly and she felt the tiny life moving inside her throat tightened, she whispered silently to her unborn child about its father, the man she loved more than herself. She didn't know if Truong would ever come back, but she wanted her child to grow up surrounded by love, not bitterness or resentment. Amid the noise and chatter of the market, tieu nu carried herself with calm grace. Each eggplant she sold held a piece of her effort, a way to earn a living, and perhaps a way to forget. Yet when evening came and the cool wind rustled through the bamboo, the emptiness returned. Truong's image still appeared in her mind, along with that smile she knew she could never forget. not even for the rest of her life. That afternoon, the red dirt road stretched quietly between the open fields. Tieu nu carried a basket of eggplants on her back after a long morning at the market. Each step felt heavy. Sweat clung to her shirt, her hair tangled from the wind and dust. Her legs trembled with every stride, but she pushed on all she needed was to make it home, to rest a little, then keep going. Halfway down the empty road, she stopped by the grassy roadside, set her basket down, and leaned against a tree. Her breathing was labored, her face pale and drained. The exhaustion made her vision blur, and the dull ache in her lower abdomen, something she had felt often lately, came again. She tried to ignore it, not wanting anyone to worry. In that moment of weakness, memories of Truong flooded back his eyes, his voice, his smile. Every time she thought of him, her chest tightened with both longing and pain. Just then, a car pulled up beside the road. The sound of the brakes made Tieu nu look up. From the car stepped a familiar woman, slender, kind-faced, with the same gentle eyes Tieu nu could never forget. It was Truong's mother. She had been on her way to visit Tieu nu, bringing fruit and the quiet care of a mother who had carried a heavy heart for far too long. But when she saw Tieu nu sitting by the road, her hair disheveled, her face drawn with fatigue, her lips pale, clutching the basket of eggplants, as if holding on to her last bit of strength, her heart ached. A light breeze swept by, lifting a few strands of hair from Tieu nu's forehead, and the sight made the woman's chest tighten. She hurried toward her, filled with both love and guilt. The once bright daughter-in-law she adored now looked weary and fragile, worn down by life. Without a word, she opened the car trunk and took out a bottle of cool water, handing it to Tieu nu. The young woman looked up startled, then her eyes filled with tears. She tried to smile, her voice trembling hoarse. I'm fine, really." Gently, the older woman placed a hand on her shoulder, feeling the heat from her tired body. A wave of worry and sadness washed over her, a pain she couldn't put into words. Memories returned of the days when Truong was still home, when Tieu nu had been like a morning flower, always cheerful and full of life. She used to cook warm meals for the family, laughing every time Truong teased her. Now she sat silently by the roadside, her small basket of eggplants, the only thing keeping her going. Since Truong left, he had left behind a void no one could fill. Tieu nu lowered her head, whispering thanks, embarrassed yet grateful. Every gesture from Truong's mother carried the tenderness of a true parent, and Tieu nu couldn't hold back her tears. On the ride home, the car moved slowly under the shade of trees. Tieu nu sat quietly in the back seat, holding her empty basket close, staring out the window. In the front seat, Truong's mother stayed silent, but her eyes followed the girl through the rearview mirror, eyes filled with worry and compassion. She could tell Tieu nu still missed her son deeply. The way she sometimes touched her belly, lost in thought, spoke of the child Truong never knew, and it broke the woman's heart even more. There was so much she wanted to say, to apologize for her son, to comfort this young woman who had endured so much. But instead, she just sighed softly, gripping the bag of fruit beside her. She knew no words could erase Tieu nu's pain. She only hoped that this visit might remind the girl that she was not forgotten, that someone still cared, still remembered, and still waited. The car rolled on down the long road, the air carrying the faint scent of eggplant soil and memories. Truong's mother gazed out the window, her eyes filled with silent hope that one day her son would return and see the woman who had never stopped loving him, and the little child quietly waiting for its father. In the back seat, tieu nu leaned her head against the window, her eyes misty. Outside, the sun was setting, casting golden light across the fields. She knew that no matter how tired or lonely she felt, as long as hope remained, she would keep moving for the child growing inside her, for the promise left unfinished, and for the man whose name her heart still whispered, whether in dreams or in the waking world, Truong.